a medieval fortress with origins dating back to the 9th century.
That thing has been standing right there for well over 1,000 years.
An ancient, secluded mountain village that's been virtually untouched by time.
Oh wow, look at this. Did we step into a time machine?
And the most flavorful, locally pressed olive oil that holds its ground among some of the finest in Europe.
See what she's carrying? What she's struggling to carry up this hill? That's about a gallon jug of olive oil right there. That's 2 liters of olive oil. A lifetime supply of olive oil.
Marvão is indeed a hidden gem in eastern Portugal that you did not know needs to be added to your bucket list. Welcome to the channel. My name's Rich, and in this video, we're going to discuss why me and the family ranked the tiny town of Marvão as our favorite stop on our road trip through Portugal, and why you might want to consider working it into your itinerary as well. This was somewhat of a random find for us that just ended up turning out a lot more awesome than anticipated. When we were mapping out our trip, we wanted to stay primarily close to the coast, but we did want to venture inland for at least a few days just to shake things up a bit. We quickly learned that Portugal's Alentejo region is full of many historic medieval villages with many medieval castles, and Marvão just happened to be where the dart landed when we threw it at the map. Figuratively speaking, of course. Let's talk a little bit about the history of the town. The name Marvão is believed to derive from Ibn Marwan. But this guy was a Moorish rebel leader who was believed to establish a military stronghold here in the late 9th century during the conflicts with the Umayyads of Cordoba and the Christian reconquest forces. Moorish, you say? What does that mean? Thank you for asking. If you're unaware, as I was, the Moors were a primarily Muslim group of North African Berbers and Arabs that brought the religion of Islam to what was then known as the Iberian Peninsula, which is present-day Spain and Portugal. The Moors showed up in the area around 711 AD and ruled many parts of the region for almost 800 years, which is why there's such a strong Moorish influence throughout many regions of Portugal today. While historical records don't provide definitive proof of Marwan's direct establishment of a fortress here, it is widely accepted that he did control the area and more than likely used Marvão as a military base. This is highly plausible considering the conflicts of the time and Marvão's strategic hilltop location, which would have been ideal for defense with complete panoramic views of the area, which includes the modern-day Spanish border.
I wonder how far you can actually see. Gotta be at least 50 miles. Gotta be. You can see all the way out to where the horizon is just a blur.
While the castle's origins likely date all the way back to Marwan's time, the castle as it stands today is a result of many centuries of additional reinforcements and structural enhancements, which started around the mid to late 12th century. This is when King Alfonso I captured the castle during the Christian Reconquista, when Portugal was taken back from the Moors. About a century later, in the late 13th and early 14th centuries, King Dom Dinis, which also happened to be the name of the hotel where we stayed, more on that later, but he brought much more significant reinforcements to the castle, like improving the gate systems and watchtowers for surveillance, reinforcing the town's outer walls, and enhancing the cistern system, ensuring that the castle had a steady water supply. Throughout the centuries, Marvão's played a significant role in many other conflicts, including the Portuguese Restoration War of the 17th century and the Napoleonic invasion during the Peninsula War of the 19th century. Today, the castle's military role has declined due to the vast changes in modern warfare, but it does remain an important historical site and is one of Portugal's most well-preserved medieval towns, especially in the Alentejo region.
Something else that's really cool about Marvão is that everything is really inexpensive. For the 3 of us, we haven't paid more than €5 to get into any of the attractions here. We just paid $3.50 for the 3 of us to come in this castle. In the States, I mean, that would be an easy $40 for the 3 of us.
Now, this is not the kind of place that I would recommend booking a trip halfway across the world just to see this town, but if you are renting a car and driving through Portugal like we were, I'd say it's definitely worth working into your itinerary, especially if you've never seen a preserved medieval town like this. We spent 2 nights there, so 1 full day, and I probably could have stayed another night there, but the missus said that she thought the 1 day was just about right, so that's going to come down to personal preference. If you're driving straight to Marvão from Lisbon, it's going to take about 2 hours and 50 minutes. If you're coming from Porto, it's showing to take about 3 hours and 20 minutes, and Faro is looking more like 3 hours and 40 minutes. These are going to be your 3 main international airports in Portugal, which is why I'm using them as frames of reference. Regardless of which city you're flying into, you can leave sometime around mid-morning or early afternoon and easily be in Marvão before the sun goes down. The whole town is located within these ancient castle walls, and the roads were definitely not built with cars in mind.
Oh, this is so fun!
Just take it nice and easy. Close quarters driving down these roads, like inches away from the walls, like 6 of them.
These are all cobblestone streets that were mostly built between the 13th and 15th centuries, but I did read that some even date all the way back to the Roman times. With that in mind, I would recommend renting as small of a car as you can stand because the roads are super narrow and don't leave much room for error. This is going to be more or less a universal theme for most cities and towns in Portugal because cars just didn't exist when these roads were built. Once you get inside the walls and get to your hotel, you can just leave your car parked and walk everywhere for the duration of your stay. The whole town, including the castle, the restaurants, and all the little shops can be accessed entirely on foot, so bring your walking shoes and get ready to get your steps in. Something else you'll want to keep in mind, the woman at the front desk of the hotel mentioned that since Marvão is only about a 15-minute drive from Spain, apparently it's a pretty convenient spot for Spanish travelers to hop over for the weekend, so the weekends will evidently be more crowded than it is during the week. I think our full day was like on a Tuesday, and we pretty much had the whole town to ourselves, which we thought was nice. Before we head in and check out the hotel, I do want to mention that if you're on the lookout for reliable, practical travel information whenever you're booking your trips, that's what we do. That's why we're here. Planning trips can quickly turn into an overload of information, and while you can research and prepare till you're blue in the face, there's always going to be curveballs that you don't expect until you're facing them head on. So we're trying to minimize those issues by sharing what we learn on our trips and help you hopefully be a little more prepared than we were. So be sure to hit the subscribe button, help us get to our first 1,000 subscribers, and let's go see the world together.
Yeah.
Alright, so the hotel we stayed at was called the Dinis, named after King Dinis. I love this place and would absolutely recommend. It was cozy, it was clean, and the whole vibe of the place had a nice blend of medieval charm and modernized, updated comfort.
Got some kind of stone there. Yeah, updated, everything's modern, everything's modernized. Everywhere we've been so far has bidets, so that's a nice touch. Everything's super clean. We got robes. I'm not much of a robe guy, but I'm gonna rock one of those robes. She said there's a jacuzzi up on the top terrace. Let's see if we can't get that thing fired up here in a little bit. Just a little place to sit right there. The weather in Portugal is marvelous, by the way, and I don't use that word lightly or often. Let's go check out the rest of the place.
The customer service was great, and the woman at the front desk was super warm and inviting. I did not catch her name, but me and Jeeves were talking about how we could have just sat there and listened to her talk all day long. She had this really soothing voice and acted like she genuinely enjoyed sitting there talking to us, which is always nice. There's a complimentary breakfast, which is always a big selling point for us. When we were booking our stay, we did read that some of the reviews online were saying that the breakfast was minimalistic and not very filling. That was definitely not our experience. If you like charcuterie style meats and cheeses, like prosciutto, it's not called prosciutto. I don't know what it's called, but it was delicious and there's plenty of it to go around.
This is what we're doing. We're taking some kind of ham, unfold the cheese, put the meat in the cheese, make it a little rolly. If you got good quality honey, dip it in the honey, the sweet and the savory. It goes so well together.
And now you stuff.
Kind of messy, but good.
They have plenty of the little Portuguese pastries, the pastéis de nata. I seriously could have eaten about 50 of those things. There's plenty of local jams and honey. If you're not getting full off this breakfast, then you're just not going back for seconds. The hotel is located at the top of the town, right by the castle, so whenever you walk out of the hotel, you got a picturesque view of the castle and panoramic views for as far as the eye can see. Me and Jeej stepped outside at around 11 p.m. to split a bottle of wine and, just talk about life. When we walked out front and stepped around the corner, I was blown away by the view we had of the castle. It was all lit up with the colors of the Portuguese flag, and there was this thick fog rolling in. And the best way I can describe it is it looked like when the fog was hitting the top of the mountain, it would shoot up over the top of the castle, and then it just kept rolling onto the rest of the town. This video doesn't do it justice, but it was legitimately one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Another area of the hotel where you have amazing views is the upper terrace where the jacuzzi is.
I told you I was busting out the robe. Right, let's get comfortable. When you find that perfect jet, you're like, yeah. I found the perfect jet, especially after walking around on all these hills all day. Perfect way to unlock.
The jacuzzi is first come, first serve, and is only available while the hotel staff is on the property, so once they leave for the day, the jacuzzi is off limits. There's a little restaurant and bar right across the street that has great paninis and stuff like that.
So we're starting off with the regional products plate. Check this out. Kind of like a charcuterie board. We got olives, olive oil, straight from the olive. I'm usually not a big olive guy, but the olives here just hit a little bit differently. So I got the pork sausage sandwich, which was that same meat that came with the regional products plate, and it's got olive paste on it, and man, it's so good. Not overpowering at all. It's got that pungent goat cheese on it, right up my alley.
During the day, they had this African gray parrot, and they'd set his cage out front. This thing was a trip. It would never talk to us while we were at the cage, but as soon as we walk off, it'd start whistling and catcalling us.
All right, now watch this. I'm gonna walk away. My little confidence boost for the morning. I feel like a piece of meat right now. Women, is this what you go through? Gotta deal with birds squawking at you? Bye-bye. Ciao. Ciao.
Gigi and Mark are all about some birds, so that was a nice little cake topper for us. Another restaurant I want to mention is the Veranda do Alentejo. This is going to be a less than 5-minute walk from the hotel, located in one of Marvão's beautifully preserved historical buildings. This restaurant not only showcases the rich culinary traditions of the region, but also has many excellent regional wines to choose from, and like everywhere else in Marvão, incredible views of the surrounding Alentejo countryside.
Cod is a prominent dish here in Portugal. Been hearing all about it. Everyone says try the cod, try the sardines. I've had cod once, had sardines once. About to try the traditional cod. Me and Gigi are two peas and a cod. Not the same things.
Peppers on top are like sweet and sour, like escabeche flavor.
Escabeche. Are you just making up words?
I don't know if I'm saying it right. And it's perfect because the acidity cuts through.
I'm using those chef words.
While the food and wine were both amazing, the real show stealer for us was the olive oil. Unbeknownst to us, Marvão is apparently well known for its high-quality olive oil. Many of the local producers still use traditional cold pressing techniques to extract the oil, which are believed to date back thousands of years all the way to the Greek and Roman times. Some of the smaller, more mom-and-pop style mills in the area that prioritize authenticity over mass production actually still operate using stone presses. This is an ancient traditional method for olive oil extraction and is a much slower, more labor-intensive grinding process that results in a much richer, more complex flavor profile. The olive oil here was by far the most flavorful that I had ever tasted, and we were so impressed with it that we actually ended up bringing 4 liters back to the States with us.
All right, so did not come here expecting to load up on wine and olive oil. This olive oil, best olive oil I've ever had. Just finished up at the restaurant, and we bought out the entire restaurant supply of wine and olive oil. I'm just kidding. We didn't buy their entire supply, but we bought more than I thought we were going to. This is all wine and olive oil. Gigi over here, see what she's carrying? What she's struggling to carry up this hill. That's about a gallon jug of olive oil right there. Now that's 2 liters of olive oil. A lifetime supply of olive oil.
We actually would have bought more, but we didn't know how hard it was going to be getting back to the States. Fun fact, you can bring at least 4 liters of olive oil and wine back from Europe in your check bags. We just patted it all down as much as we could with clothes, and we didn't have any problems. Something else that I think is worth mentioning, look at this bread bowl. Isn't that cool? It was at this moment that I learned that cork, like the kind you see in wine bottles, actually comes from harvesting a cork oak tree that grows extensively in the Alentejo. As it turns out, Portugal holds the status of largest cork producer globally, and all throughout the country you'll see products for sale like hats and handbags made entirely out of cork wood. Also, look at this lamp. Ain't that something? I'll leave links down in the comments to everything that I mentioned in this video, like the Dom Dinis Hotel and the Veranda do Alentejo restaurant, so you can check them out and have a more extensive look for yourself. If you're planning on spending some time in Lisbon while you're in Portugal and are looking for some interesting things to do while you're there, I've put together this 2-part video series on what we learned about visiting 2 of Lisbon's most historical neighborhoods, Alfama and Chiado. So be sure to check that out, and I will see you there.